This is a really interesting watch. This is another one from Psych to Go. I think this video is not necessarily about romantic relationships per se. Basically, it's about the thoughts that that basically self-sabotage you in relationships with other humans. And I'm not sure if they mean romantic relationships, but we'll see. I think it's a pretty cool one. The reasons why I might be self-sabotaging your relationships.
1. Low self-worth. Do you often feel that you're not worthy of a relationship, or you aren't lovable? It could even be that you've convinced yourself that people just don't see you in that way. A common cause of self-sabotaging relationships is a very low sense of self-worth. 2. Fear of losing.
Like, I don't know, the more baggage you have, the more like difficult things and stories and experiences and feelings you're carrying with you, the harder it is to just kind of, flush yourself out of that and start realizing that you're an amazing person. And like I talked earlier about the importance of having a good support system and having someone who is able to like move past your flaws and just accept you for the amazing person that you are. I think we all deserve someone like that, regardless of who it is. And it's, I don't know, not being able to see yourself as good, even when you do something bad, even after a while, even after you've tried to change, can be so damaging.
Friends. Do you feel obliged to your friends? Does it feel like you need to repay them for being your friend? Through all the support you've given and received to and from each other, you might subconsciously feel like you owe it to your friends or family to be available when they need you. You might avoid relationships because you're afraid of abandoning your friends or not being a good enough friend to them. 3. Fear of being unable to balance. Think about work.
Oh, I'm so guilty of this one. It's like this is what made me start living my life through checklists in the first place. Like I don't behave like a normal person. I use Trello for my daily things and habits and everything because I'm easily soaked into one activity and one activity only, to the point where I will, I don't know, forget about, I don't know, food or important phone calls that I need to make or whatever. Or when I'm with my kid, I I'm totally and justifiably guilty of just wanting to spend my time with him and not ever doing anything else until he goes to bed. Sometimes things need to be done and sometimes there's like work stuff that can't wait, but I just want to make sure I'm there for him and with him all the time. And sometimes it just doesn't work out for me because like he goes to bed at 7 and I realize that I needed to make like an important phone call or something and it's too late and the government buildings are no longer open, and it's just like creates a mess for me long term. So I started making like daily checklists of things that I need to do to make sure I think of everything. And it's hard work, but it is ultimately worth it.
Friends, family, and your own hobbies. Are there a lot of things in your life fighting for your time? Self-sabotaging might also stem from your fear of being unable to be a good significant other to your partner because you can't divide your
Because if you only give them a fraction of that time, they can sometimes feel bad about it. Like I had an ex-boyfriend who oh well, the story beginning with an ex-boyfriend already sounds like a disastrous one, but he would get really mad at me for putting him inside of these like checklists. Like whenever I would need to see him or whenever we would have a date or something like that, I would put his name on my daily checklist and he'd be like, why are you doing this? I should just be, like you should take our time for granted in that way. You shouldn't schedule me. And I'm like, well, I have to schedule you so that I make sure I commit my time to you as well. And he could never understand that concept, and it just created a huge mess. Not recommended.
time properly. This happens because you might not have been in many relationships, and you're used to fending for yourself in a certain way. You're afraid that a relationship might cause you to lack the time you put into other things. It could also be connected to losing freedom or a piece of yourself. Number 4, afraid to disappoint them. This is connected to the low self-worth. You're afraid you don't have the skills required to be a good partner. You're afraid of making mistakes or saying or doing the
Oh,
wrong thing, and as a result, you avoid relationships altogether. And number 5, fear of abandonment. Nothing in life is completely without risk. Opening yourself up and having a romantic relationship.
like this is something that everyone has to be able to accept, no matter how amazing and great they are. It's like when you jump into a relationship, you have to understand that, like, nothing is ever for granted, not even marriage. Like marriages and, relationships with huge amounts of commitment, like, I don't know, buying a house together or having kids together or whatever, they can still be broken apart, and sometimes it is for the best. Sometimes people don't like the feeling of something in life not being, I don't know, not being cemented or forever or whatever. But that is what life is. Nothing is ever, first of all, nothing is forever, and nothing is ever, um how should I even say it? Like, you can't expect that everything you have today is what you'll have tomorrow, and it's just a human flaw and a desire to be loved and not abandoned and lost that, I guess, causes this.
Opens up a variety of different risks you run, emotionally speaking. These risks or fears can range from fear of abandonment to your partner not liking the way you look or anything in between. Whatever it is, it's quite scary and might result in you consciously or subconsciously avoiding having a romantic relationship. Now let's talk about why you might self-sabotage at work. 6. Loss of freedom. Do you adjust to change easily? Are you excited for that promotion or worried about the increased responsibilities? Assuming that self-sabotaging happens in cases where you're about to gain a higher position, that position might come with more complex tasks.
I'm totally guilty of this, and I think this is part of the reason why I don't do what I went to school for. Like, I'm a biochemical engineer who decided to make content, and I'm very happy with making content. This, like, connecting with the community in this kind of way is what I ultimately want to do. But the weight of the responsibility of, like, creating products that will affect people's lives, that, that they will consume in any way, shape, or form, or use in, I don't know, their food prep, or, taking care of their, plants or their animals, or even, I don't know, even like making vaccines and stuff. Like, it's just it's a profession that just requires you to shoulder a lot of responsibility for your mistakes. Content creation also has these responsibilities, but I doubt, unless you are just really horrible and say all the wrong things and influence people to do all the wrong stuff, you usually can't really doom someone with that. And I'm having such a hard time dealing with the fact that someone can be doomed because of me, and here I am.
Familiarity at work gives you a certain freedom. You know what to expect, and once you're familiar, you have more freedom to plan and do it in a way that makes it more comfortable for you. Having more complexity might subconsciously frighten you because you would lose a bit of that freedom because you're not as familiar with the tasks. Number 7, you're afraid they've overestimated you. I can definitely relate to this one.
Oh gosh.
Are you doubting your own capability? Do you think you're not up for it? If you don't believe in your own abilities, the offer of a higher position would trigger a number of anxieties. These ultimately translate into self-sabotage. You might not believe you're ready for such a position, and as a result, you might think, I'm not made for this.
No.
But the truth is, it was you who they chose after all. So that counts for something, right? Number 8, fear of rejection by your new peers. It's always a bit scary.
It's like, this is something that never leaves you, right? This is something you carry on from your, I don't know, your toddlerhood. Is toddlerhood even a word? Nope. So, it's like the being the new kid in the class kind of feeling. It never really goes away. It's just that when you're an adult and when you need to join like a work collective, the name for the new kid in the class just kind of doesn't exist anymore, and the fact that people don't talk about it in such a way, kind of denormalizes your feelings, and it just sucks because as an adult you still have these same like instincts from your childhood, but it's no longer socially acceptable to express them, which sucks.
Scary to be the new person in a group, right? Especially if those people were first a step above you and are now supposed to be on your own level. You have to learn the ropes, and you're afraid of feeling like an outsider if you don't immediately pick
Aw.
up the new skills. This fear of not being as good as the others might draw you to do subtle things that result in self-sabotage. We hope we were able to give you insight into some of the reasons you might be unknowingly practicing self-sabotage. Can you think of any others? How many do you recognize in your own behavior? Would you like us to publish a
I'm
video
starting
with
them
more
out.
advice on how to overcome self-sabotaging? Leave a comment down below about your reason for engaging in this behavior. And please feel free to share any experiences and thoughts you've had as well. If you found this video helpful, be sure to hit the like button and share it with those out there wading in the shady waters of self-sabotage.
Do you guys like these videos? Like, I think from time to time, like, I don't know, like, I wanna do good for my community as well, and that's why I throw in these videos as well. Like, I watch them for my own self-improvement as well, and I just hope that whoever watches this, like, like, you can never know when someone needs them, so hopefully, even though this is not gaming, like, I don't know, a little bit of self-reflection on a Sunday afternoon is not a bad thing for you. But yeah, thank you for enjoying those with me.